All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite real estate broker, Alex Medina, with the Northwest Real Estate Beat. That's right, the Northwest Real Estate Beat. And let me tell you a little bit about what that means. Essentially, if a lot of y'all don't know, I'm a music producer who got my real estate license. So I pretty much put my two favorite passions together to bring you this show. That's music, which are my beats, which you're going to be listening to in the background, and that's what you're listening to right now. And these same beats were featured on MTV and other shows like Cribs, True Life, Once Upon a Prom. They were used on the Kanye West Homecoming special. I had like 6 beats on there, by the way. Just want to point that out. Also on the Taylor Swift show, which is kind of awesome. But, you know, when you're doing music and whatnot, there's other things. You have a lot of time on your hands. And so I decided to get my real estate license. And, well, I happen to live in Seattle, and that's the market that we're in. So essentially it just made sense. Beats, real estate, market, Seattle. Let's talk about it. So this is what we're doing today. And I do have a very, very special guest here with us today who's a lender. One of my favorite lenders, someone that I really, really highly trust. Someone that I send a lot of my clients to who've actually worked with them and been successful in putting together deals. Mr. Aaron Hafner.
Hi.
Hey,
Alex, how are you?
Yes. So yeah, we're going to be talking to him a little bit later on today, and we're going to be going over some pretty much 7 steps for your home buying process, or 7 home buying steps. Whatever. We're going to be going over some home buying steps with Aaron, and he's going to be telling us all about that. But first off, let's start off with some market updates, and let me pull this up from the Northwest MLS. So real quick, we're going to do a snapshot of what our market looks like right now. So let me start off with construction, or new construction that is, and that's for September of 2019. And so these are numbers. This is data and information that all us number crunchers love. So new construction, let's put some numbers out there. Northwest MLS brokers sold 908 new construction residential homes and condos in September, which is an increase of 9.8%. Here's some healthy information for you. $530,000 is the median sales price, or was the median sales price in September, and that's $530,000 for the condos. So that was the average for those condos sold, which is really not that bad considering a couple years ago when those same condos were what, $1 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
They dropped down.
Yeah, they've dropped. So now's a really good time, as you just said, and we'll get into that in a moment. As far as available inventory, let's get into that. We're going to do a year over year. So this time last year in September, that is, there were 2.56 months of inventory. This year in September, there were 2.01 months of inventory. So what that means for sellers is it's a great time to sell. Essentially, there isn't enough inventory out there, and your home would probably sell pretty fast. So 2.01 months of inventory. So if you're wondering if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, it's a little bit of both. And it's we're not going to count out the sellers yet because it's still a great time to sell. So we're going to keep on moving. We got some more data for you. Let's see, months of inventory for sale. Last month, there were 15,982 active listings in the database, which is a decrease of 18.2% from September 2018. So once again, it's a great time to sell. There's not enough inventory. We need your house. Someone needs to buy that, or somebody wants to buy it and doesn't have the option to buy it yet because it's not for sale. As far as closed sales, the median close price was $420,000. That's for the Northwest MLS database, that is. The median close price for residential homes and condos increased 5% year over year from last year. So condo prices are going up. That's not a bad deal there. All right. Northwest MLS brokers sold 7,962 residential homes and condos in total during September 2019. So there's your numbers there. As far as how much money was sold, let's take a look at that. This is for new listings. There were $4.09 billion in closed sales for residential and condos in the Northwest MLS database. That's right. That's billions. That's a lot of money.
It is.
All right.
Billions.
The total dollar value of closed sales for residential homes in September 2019 was $3.69 billion. And was $393 million for condominiums. So we kind of split up the numbers there. So of the 3.69 billion were residential homes, and then 393 million were condos. So a little bit more data for you. That's the Mario tone for you. That tells us that we're going to last month's data were 9,435 new listings were added to the database, which is a decrease of 9.8% from last year, this month. So once again, not enough inventory. That's pretty much what the market's telling us. Pending sales, there were 9,785 total residential units and condos under contract in September 2019, which is an increase of 9.8%. So the condos are looking pretty good. All right. And well, we got some more data here we'll get into. But I don't know if this is information that we should share with you guys because I don't know that pertains to us. 23 counties. We'll skip that. So let's get right into the fun stuff right here, because we do have Aaron Hafner here in the house, and he is a lender. And a lot of people come up to me and they think, well, real estate broker, you know everything about everything. So they come up to me and say, hey, do I qualify for a home? And I always got to specify, well, I am the real estate broker. I am not the lender. All right. So can you tell us what the difference is between the lender and the real estate broker, Aaron, so people kind of know what your job role is and what my job role is in this whole process?
Well, thanks, Alex, for letting me show up today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
In the house.
You're in the house.
I like it.
Real quick, what's your website?
Oh, it's HafnerMartinLoans.com. So me and my business partner have our website or have our own business.
Okay.
Program lending. So it's HafnerMartinLoans.com.
Awesome. So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to that website and talk to Aaron.
Yeah.
And
you got a great video on there. You telling you the steps for doing things and explaining the process for you. So yes.
So the difference between a broker and the lender, because a lot of people get confused as to the difference between.
Well, we have the money.
Right.
And we loan out the money.
So you guys are the money people.
Yes.
Point.
So yeah,
plain and simple.
Plain and simple. You sell the house, we try to finance the house.
So when the audience is listening and they go to the broker, we let them know that they're not the money man, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're the money man. So they make sure you qualify to get the money. They give you the money, and then he passes the ball over to me, to my court, and then I essentially find you the house. So the broker, after you've been pre-qualified, after Aaron's went through the process of going through the paperwork, and we'll get into what kind of paperwork we have to get into in a moment. And after you've been fully underwritten, and we'll talk about how important that is as well, then you come and see the broker, which is myself or someone like myself. I'm not sure you'll find someone as cool as me out there, but come to myself, come to me, yeah, because no one, gotta be cool. But no, I love my job. I love real estate. I love what I do. And then what we do is essentially locate the house that you want. So knowing what we know as far as your budget, it could be, 300,000 all the way to 500,000, could be $1 million, $2 million, whatever your budget is. We'll then locate houses in that threshold. So that's our job. And the most important thing that a broker does essentially is negotiate on your behalf. So one thing that I like to do for my clients is I love the low ball. It's my favorite thing, especially in a market like this. I've had situations where I've gotten 30% under asking just because I asked. Right. So a lot of people are afraid to ask, but that's what the broker does. He negotiates on your behalf, and he makes sure that you get a really good deal. Or if he's selling your house, we make sure that you get the best, the most money possible for your house. One thing I did want to talk about as far as the lending process are some of the steps that it takes for us to get a loan. And I wanted to kind of talk to Aaron about that because I was going through his website. I was going through your website, Aaron.
Yeah.
And I found a lot of helpful information there. And let me see if I can
that's what we do. In our website, we try to, I think the biggest key for people trying to buy a house, they just don't know the process, right? I mean, they're experts in their own mind for doing certain things, but they're not experts in purchasing a house. Right. And it's not something you do all the time. So I think the biggest thing that we try to promote is knowledge. We're giving you as much knowledge as possible so you can make the best decision for what you're trying to accomplish. So depending on your scenario, we have a lot of different options for you that you can qualify for a loan or walk you through the steps of how the process works so you feel confident when you make your decision to buy. Because when the process starts out, you find a house that you really like.
Yep.
And then everyone gets all excited, and that process feels like it goes 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
And so our idea is to slow that process down, so at least you've got all the stuff, all the information available to you.
Right.
So when the time is right and you make that offer, you don't feel like you're going 1,000 miles an hour. You can only focus on the house that you want to buy, because we've already verified, or you've already gotten familiar with what you can afford and comfortable on the payment.
That's awesome.
So when you go look, you'll be looking with confidence, as opposed to, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Just being scared and just not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and that's your job too. Your job is to show them what's available, show the process, and it's not intimidating.
Right.
It's supposed to be fun. Buying a house is fun, because you're going to create new memories and new places where you can be with your family and all these great things. And buying a house is a big deal, and it's a great stepping stone for future events in your lives and stuff like that.
So y'all heard a Cool Calm Collective, right? So he's not going to freak out every 5 minutes or tell you about a situation that doesn't really matter or pertain to you, what's going on. He's going to make sure everything's in order, and he's only going to tell you the information that's helpful to you and information that won't scare the crud out of you, right?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is just you walk in with confidence. Either we can do something or we can't, but at least we'll give you a blueprint or a pathway to purchase a house, for sure. So if now's not the time, then we can show you exactly when the time would be or how to get to that point.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was looking at your website. What was the website again?
It's HafnerMartinLoans.com.
That's right, and I just had him shout it out because I want him to get the shout out there. And we'll get into this in a minute, but there are 7 home buying steps, and I want you to go over that with the audience here.
Yeah, so the thing is that in this market, like you just talked about the stats, right? It's competitive. So you're saying that, hey, there's not enough inventory to satisfy the buyer's needs.
Right.
Then that means there's a lot of people who want to buy a house.
Right.
And so you have to be prepared in order to come. I mean, it's almost like battle, right? You got to go in for battle. And you have to be prepared, right? And so if you're not prepared, you will not win. And buying a house, like we said, it should be fun. And you don't want to put offers in on something that you're not ready to make an offer on.
Right.
And so that's what we try to do. So these 7 steps that we talk about, essentially they're all roughly the same. The idea is for us, when you get a loan, to see if you qualify, is as the lender, we're going to verify your credit, your income, and your assets.
Nice.
Okay, we call it CAA, right? Your credit, income, and assets. If we can make sure your credit, your income, and assets all fit within the lending guidelines, then you'll get a house, right? So that's kind of what we go through. And so the first part of that is to meet with a lender. So if you think that you want to purchase a house or now's the timing for you, then meet with a mortgage professional, mortgage consultant, to kind of go over your scenario and what you have to see if it's what you want matches for what you're currently at.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we do. And so we have you just go through and fill an application and pull the credit and review your credit and your income and your assets.
Awesome.
I'm looking at it that way. And then once you've kind of figured out after you've done that process, then the idea is we would give you some scenarios so you at least have a feeling for what price range you're able to qualify for.
Okay.
Because then at that point you would say, okay, now that I know what I can qualify for, then I will go ahead and relay that to the agent, for them to
correct. And I feel that a broker's responsibility really is to make sure that your client's pre-qualified before you start going and looking for houses.
No doubt.
There's a lot of situations where brokers, want to be nice and give tours to their clients and whatnot. But essentially, we both find out, or all parties find out, that it's really a waste of time, because there may be a situation where they may like the house. Then they want to, well, what's next? Well, let's make an offer. Well, they try to make an offer and you find out, well, they needed this and needed that, and it slows down the process. But by the time they're done, someone else already made an offer on the house. That house is gone. Right. So it's very important that you get pre-qualified first before you start looking at houses. I think it's another thing. Sellers really, they don't like people to come in and see their houses unless they're pre-qualified. I've learned that the hard way. So
it's hard.
If you're a broker out there,
house,
get your clients pre-qualified. And if you're a client, or if you're a buyer listening, and Aaron will talk about this here in a moment, make sure you get fully underwritten. That's right. Make sure you get fully underwritten. It's going to be very important. Like you said, it's this competition out there. It's a war out there. Being fully underwritten is like having a shield and a sword out there in battle. So make sure you get fully underwritten. And so let's start off with some of these steps for home buyers here. We had 7 of them.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like we introduced, like we talked about being pre-qualified,
right.
And then once you meet with
What's step number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a step in. Well, first of all, you're going to talk to your real estate agent. You're going to talk to Alex, right? And you're going to say, look, I'm thinking about buying a house.
Yep.
And you're going to probably say, hey, you need to talk to a lender to see if.
So once we get to the lender, so
Yeah.
once we see the lender from a lender
Yeah.
standpoint, what's the 7 steps that we go from? Or
Yeah,
take
so
from
then
there?
what we'll do is you provide the paperwork. So
Okay.
essentially the first step is to do the pre-qualification process, which is where you send the documents in and you send your documents in. So enough documents.
What are some of the documents that we may need?
Yeah, so in order to verify your credit, your income, and your assets, how do we verify those?
Right.
And basically we just want to look at your bank statements,
Okay.
Tax returns, pay stubs,
Okay.
W-2s,
All right.
all that stuff to document your income, right?
Right.
So if you're self-employed, it might be different than if you're salaried and you work and you get your paid every 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's kind of what we do is we need your documentation, tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs, and that kind of thing, so we can determine what your income is. Because
Awesome.
your approval will be based upon the income that you have.
Awesome. And then another thing is, it's very important because then there may be things that come up that you need to remedy, and it's good to get ahead of that as fast as you can.
Yeah,
So-
and I think some people feel a little intimidated because they know their credit may not be perfect.
Right.
And so that prevents them from trying to move forward. And I think, it's like going to the doctor, right? We just want to go, let's take a look and analyze it. We're not going to be judgmental. We want you to buy a house.
Right.
And the idea is
Yeah,
like,
all of us
hey,
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
We're working together.
How can we put it together to make options for you to buy a house, you can get into? And I think just being open and honest and just trying to figure out where it is. And if it's not today, then we would be more than happy to create a plan that will allow you to get a home ownership in the next year or a year and a half or whatever it is.
You hear that,
Work
guys?
around that.
He's willing to put together a plan for you. So if you're listening out there and you've never considered buying a home and you've thought, well, do I qualify? Do I don't? Give Aaron a call. Call Aaron. We'll figure it out. And if not, we'll get a plan going on.
Absolutely.
Right?
I just think that's the biggest thing is that people don't know. And I think when people don't know, they get nervous and they get timid.
Right.
And so the idea is to provide knowledge and information so you can feel confident about where you want to take your next step in terms of home ownership.
Right.
So-
And a lot of the financial information, a lot of buyers don't realize is it's private, it's confidential. So the broker is not going to have any back end information on what your financials are. So a lot of times, it gets kind of weird when they realize that the broker knows all the financial information.
Yeah,
So-
we keep that separate because your information is private. I
Right.
mean, there's no need for, other than what you can qualify for.
Right.
That's pretty much what you want to go shop,
Awesome.
and what you can see. So,
Cool.
so then, basically what we do is, you get all your documents and everything else.
Right.
You look at it, and there's certain guidelines and requirements that you have to have in order to qualify. But just to bring it further back, once we get you pre-qualified for a house, then we would give you a letter that says you're pre-qualified. And that's the letter that you use to go shop with. So then once you get the pre-qualification letter, then we would go back to the realtor, or you, Alex, we go to you and say, look, here's your parameters.
Okay.
Go take a look and go shop.
That's
the fun
that's our
part.
favorite part. That's the funnest part right there.
That's the best part,
And everyone
for
gets,
sure.
you get excited, the clients get excited, the broker gets excited, everyone gets excited.
So while you're doing that, while you are doing the pre-approval process, you talked about the idea of being fully underwritten, okay? And what that means, an underwriter is the person that validates the information that you provided to us.
Okay.
So that when they say validate, they'll look at the pay stubs and W-2s and income to make sure it fits in the guidelines. And so as a lender, I can't make that determination in terms of approval, but I have enough experience when I'm looking at it going, here are the guidelines, here's what I need to know. And so if it fits in the guidelines, then you're pre-qualified. Then what we do is we take your information and send it to the underwriter, the person that approves the loan,
Okay.
and validates the information to verify your credit, your income, and your assets.
Got it.
Once the underwriter approves your credit, income, and assets, then they will issue a full approval, a conditional approval, if you will.
Okay.
That says on the letter, we verified your credit, income, and assets,
Right.
and all are approvable. A pre-approval letter doesn't necessarily say that. It just says that, hey, look, you provided all the documents to me, and that it fits the guidelines to qualify.
Right.
And so,
But they didn't process those documents like
Correct.
you would have to get underwritten.
correct. So the most 99.9% of lenders will do the pre-qualification or the pre-approval.
Right.
What we do, and especially in this competitive market like you talked about, there's not enough sellers to have all the demand.
No inventory.
Yeah, and so how do we make yourself stand out? We have to provide certainty or project certainty to the seller that they can that they're going to close on your loan or they close on the house, right? So if we can provide certainty to the seller, provide certainty to the buyer, then most likely they will accept your offer, all things being equal.
And that in the industry is what we call a strong offer.
Correct. So then what you would do is you would say, hey, look, seller, I've been fully underwritten. My credit, income, and assets have all been verified, right?
Yep.
So that's a leg up on top of someone who provides a pre-approval letter. Yeah. And so you have that going for you. We were able to close quicker because you've done all the heavy lifting up front.
Right, which takes time. So that time's been spent already.
Exactly.
Yep,
Exactly. So instead of, say, a 30-day close, meaning from the time you get applications to the time that you close, we've cut that in half.
Nice.
So if the sellers...
So that's more of an edge because you can close quicker.
Correct.
Which then again becomes a stronger offer.
Correct.
Okay.
So the idea is there's not one thing that does it, but if we do a lot of these little things like fuel efficiency in a car, we will actually reduce the amount of gas that you use, right? So if we have a full approval, we're able to close quickly. We can provide certainty to the seller that we can close on time without drama or anything else. And
we don't like drama. No one likes drama.
The only drama we like is giving you the keys and want you to celebrate.
Right.
That's the drama that we like.
Fight over the keys.
Yeah. But ultimately, that's kind of what we do. Our idea is to get you to put you in the best position to win in a multiple offer situation and competitive by projecting certainty to the seller that you can close and that we verified everything. So I think, and a lot of lenders won't take that extra step. They will not take that extra step to do that. So that's what we do. And that's what we work with the realtors that we work with. We provide that as it's sort of like the whole, you get a whole team. You're not just getting a lender and everyone else.
And one good thing about being a really good broker is that you got a really good team, like you just said. So keeping really good lenders like Aaron and people you trust around you, that's having an edge in the industry. So I really appreciate having you around and answering these questions.
No problem.
You're quite the professional.
Well,
my clients are always satisfied with your work.
Thank you.
Now that we're talking, home buying and qualifying for a loan, but let's just say saving deals. Tell me a little bit about that really quick because you have 5 minutes left. But let's say there's a situation where you've had to save deals, and tell me what that looks like.
Well, I mean, most of the time when we save a deal, it's for somebody who worked with another lender that didn't know the exact program. So I think when you're working with a mortgage professional, mortgage consultant, if you will, that they need to understand the programs in place to make it work. I consider myself sort of like a financial engineer, if you will, right? How do we put it together to make it work, right? Because if you put something together and it cracks and falls apart, that's not good. That's not good engineering.
Right.
So the stuff that we've saved before is your deals that are going sideways, meaning that there's an issue, they didn't understand the program as much. How do we come in and look at that? So what we do is we have a lot of different investors that we can choose from. So if one particular path doesn't work, we have different lenders that we can use or investors that we can use.
You got options.
We do. And we have the full quiver of arrows in our backpack or in our whatever they call that thing.
Backpack's fine.
The quiver, I think it's like. So we have all that stuff there, and so we can use the different programs and everything else to figure out to make it work. So that's how we save deals. But I don't like saving deals. I like meeting people and figuring out.
You like to be the first guy. Like you should have talked to me in the beginning. We would have had this issue.
Yeah.
But it's okay to.
But if it's not, but I understand that. So that's ideal. But if it's not ideal, we can still help out. And that's the idea. Is like if we can make it work, we will. If we can't, then
Awesome. So if you guys are listening out there, if you guys have a deal that's not going the right direction, contact me at producer Alex Medina. I'll get you in contact with the right resources, or go to the websites
HafnerMartinLoans.com.
That's right, and then talk to Aaron, and he'll go over that information with you. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show today and going over home buying process and going over lending information. It's quite helpful.
You're a great realtor, so for sure, if they work. If they're working with you, they're working with a professional.
I appreciate that. So. And you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, I'd love to. It'd be fun.
And we can do this every single time if you want. But
sure.
We'll figure out another time for you to come back and talk about more subjects pertaining to the lending industry.
Okay.
But how much time I got, Chad? What up? Oh, I got 2 minutes? Cool. All right, sweet. Do you have any interesting, awesome real estate stories off the top that you've been meaning to tell?
Awesome real estate stories?
Anything scary, anything quirky, anything fun?
I think it's just getting. I think the fun part is that I go to loan closings and watching everyone so excited at the closing table when they know that it's the process is over. They're excited about how they're going to move in and all these other things. And it's the best time. I have to. That's the best thing, and you know that too from being there. You can.
Besides lending, what are some activities you do when you're not lending? You got backpacking, hiking. What do lenders do out here? I mean, besides help people
work.
out.
That's what lenders
besides
do.
work, I know. When you're not working, do you? I mean, go hiking. What do you do?
I go out. I hang
What's
out
a
with
lender
you.
do
We
out here
stuff.
for fun?
The lender does out for fun. I think we go out to. I like going to live shows, like hanging out and doing stuff, and yeah, I play a lot of tennis. So
hear that, guys? He's a human being.
Yeah.
Awesome. We love this. That's what we want. This is what you're here for, so you can show the world that we're human and
sure.
And and they can tap in with us. So once again, the Northwest Real Estate Beat, 12:30 p.m. every Tuesday. Join me for lunch. We'll talk about real estate. We'll talk about news, stats, updates. We're gonna have special guests like Aaron. And I appreciate you guys tapping in. And yeah, enjoy the music for the rest of the show because we're going to check out on this one. Say peace out, Aaron.
Oh, peace out.
There you go. I love it. Northwest Real Estate Beat. We out.